Alright, hello and welcome. This is CT5. I'm just gonna do a quick look-sees at my recent losses. I tried to first pass it another time, but then I felt I was too rambly, so here we go again. Okay, starting off, this is all normal. There's actually one thing I could potentially mention if we look. So I have the team walk from my priest, right? So depending on movement, I could have, in theory, say like use the team walk early on just to get these people onto the difficult terrain, and then zoom places. Or team walk on the warrior. Sorry. Um, Notably, like this person, if I wanted, could have gone all the way over to this side. Right, this side. Right here from team walk, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4 like around here. Instead, I went this way. Which I think is pretty reasonable, just saying like, hey, you know, where are you going, or where am I going? I think that is one thing I've noticed in my play. I'll probably need to change this team eventually, but I think one thing that I've noticed is I don't always stick together, and that's going to be especially notable in the second loss I take a look at today. I do feel like I passed a little too much. I do think I could have just team walked just to get onto the victory squares. I think it's totally reasonable. That said, passing worked because like he could have very easily passed, and then I just feel kind of stupid because I could have tried and taken a square for free. That said, you shouldn't always try to take a square for free, right? Life is weird. That is part of why I waited, so I could get 2 people into the victory square more easily without having to use a flank move. I was happy running on because I have defender's block and parry. Excuse me, etc. So this, yeah, I don't think I made any mistakes here. I don't think. So let's zoom ahead a little bit, because notably the big things happened here. Because remember, this is where I nimble strike this person. This is around where I nimble strike this person, and he vrooms. I think, right? So I had some options. I could have passed. I could have howled. This might have been a fine time to pass. I want to pass because I want to get rid of Martyr's Blessing on him. And he's moved someone off, so that's one less person with Bless on, and I have victory squares. So I should have passed, actually. That probably should have been the thing to do. The other thing to consider is who I could attack from here with the Nimble Strike if I wanted to play a card. We probably don't want to go after the Warrior with on Martyr's Blessing for obvious reasons. And then I don't go after the priest because he's really far back, and I don't have good ways to get to this one. I can be annoying, but like, the priest has a bunch of cards. Who knows what the fuck priests do, right? Priest can do fucking anything. I have some protection from parry, but then it's like, I need Nimble Strike back in to get into a good spot, and then it's like if I'm back here, then I'm attacking either one of these. No good. And I think that's all I ultimately went for this one. But looking back on it, passing would have been totally super, super reasonable. Right? Like, he moves. It's still on him. It's still on the opponent in that situation to show me he's actually a threat. Right? He just did a totally normal move of walking up with the warrior. Fine. I have some blocks, whatever. Yeah. I see somebody just gotta take a deep breath and just calm down. And with the humans, like, both auto attack is very popular, vengeance is popular. Should have saw it coming. So here's the greedy move where I went rely on defender's block and it missed. So there's actually a theme here we're going to see as well. So, right, a very safe option I could have done is just flank move away. And then that warrior's stranded, and then what, right? Like, I could have just done that, and everything would have been fine. Like, I flank move, I howl or something, and like, everything's fine. If he moves, then we know that he has like nothing left. It's fine to just leave him there with only the likely one attack. So the safest thing to do would have been to flank move. 100% the safest move. I went with a greedy move, and you know, if it fails the greedy move, you can't get too upset. You knew the risks going in, etc. Would have been really nice to have that defender's block, because I think then I almost certainly have all 3 people alive, and it's a much easier game for me from there. Right, so I went for the greedy. Greed is good at times. It happens. But no, this is actually a thing I've lost to before, where I chose to do the greedy thing when I could have done the very safe thing. And you know, it's up to you to determine whether or not the safe thing or not is the right thing to do. Because you always go for the safe thing, you end up playing a little too passively and awkwardly, and you're just a little slow, you're just a little out of position. If you always go for the greedy play, you're gonna have, you know, moments like this will happen. So up to you to decide. But I feel like I've made this point before, where hey, I did not make the safe move, and I got punished for it. It's a playstyle thing, I guess. I don't know. Oh, this is a weird spot to be now. And right, this is a spot where I actually don't want to pass. If I pass, he passes. Or he has every reason to... yeah, passing very reasonable. So here's the tempting thing I just noticed. I could Nimble Strike in. The problem... I'm in between 2 people with a lot of cards. They could easily ping pong me back and forth. That parry does nothing. So probably shouldn't do that. And again, if I go after him, this priest can move. Yeah, I have a dash. Yeah, I have a team walk. But nah, I think I need to go for the kill, which is what I do. We figured this person does not have another attack. Oh, that's so nice. We see these 2 armors, so I can safely team walk in place. I arguably could have gone... I think triggering Defender's Block makes sense. Or the reason why staying in place isn't great is because he has the 2 people to... because he has 2 people in the victory squares. The priest still had the run to hop on. I'm actually kind of surprised he went oh, that's why he had a bless, so it's... and right, like, overall the game's actually like pretty close. Right? Imagine how this looks like if my 3rd warrior were alive. Anyways, last thing I want to comment on here is that this person actually did something cute. If you remember the very, very end of the game, once I've basically lost, where is it? You see that? That's an impenetrable Nimbus. And the reason that's kind of cute is because if we think about what this person's team is doing, right? It's there's the potential for one person to get really isolated, go really far ahead thanks to Vengeance, spends all his attacks, right, with all attack and whatever else. He's kind of stuck. That Nimbus is really cute to help keep that person alive who's spent all their cards and is otherwise a sitting deck. Pretty cute. Pretty cute. Anyways, complete loss for me there. Let's look at complete loss number 2. Some things that I feel were off on my part. One, it's this dash here. I end up dashing right here. It's a really safe spot. And my concern was, I feel like I should have dashed up there, get the forward position, because I can Nimble Strike, you know. I have more good place to go with Nimble Strike. And the reason I didn't, I remember thinking at the time, I don't think I vocalized it, I remember feeling that if I went onto that spot, use the full 4 squares of movement for my dash, oh, if his wizard walked right there, 1 square to the right of where that wizard is, you can see both my people, and then, what do I do? Oh no, I don't want to get hit by wizard. If that really were a concern, like, if I were really concerned about it, I have both Flank Move and Nimble Strike to get away, so like whatever, right? So instead, this is just sort of an awkward position. Like, I do that anyways, but I could have... I don't know. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. Now here's the thing. So that spot that Derp got into is an absolutely freaking incredible spot to be. And Dwarf Warrior with full HP with Martyrs on is just ugh, right? We know that. But if we look at the map and like the difficult terrain and stuff, it's like it's so awkward to move around. If you're caught in this middle layer, it's life sucks. Life sucks. Everyone's a dwarf, and you know what that means. It's just look at it. Oh, I feel so bad. But notice how I pass her, and once again, this is sort of the same mistake. I could have flank moved away. And I chose not to. And right, and then I end up discarding the card anyway, which is reasonable, right? That flank move is potentially very, very powerful. This person has stabs. But I bring that up because I've sort of fallen into this thing where I only want to use my flank move to either gain priority or to use it for a surprise attack. And I have to remember, it's also just a move. It's also just a move, right? So I'm falling into what's known as functional fixatedness, where you only use a specific tool in a specific way. It doesn't just apply to cards here, it could apply to, I don't know, like, hey, a cup, this is probably something we've done, but a cup, we can also use it as a paperweight, right, to hold something down. Right, stuff like that. Finding ways to use things in multiple ways is good. Use your brain, and if you get locked into patterns like what I'm doing, think of ways to be used, and like, you know, we've talked about, you know, trying to be efficient, trying to get as most use out of your cards as possible, and, you know, being efficient. Remember, it doesn't fucking matter how many cards you have in your hand if you're dead, right? That's what happened by Warriors before. There's that one video, I forget how to pass video, where I just fucking use all my cards to get into the victory squares, and then I just let my opponent beat me up, and when I could have easily passed, right? Like, yeah, if you get too caught up on little things, and you get too caught up in using ways in exactly the way you want it to get, you know, as much value out of it as possible, you could be limiting yourself at times. Now again, Card Hunter is a weird game, and, you know, context matters a lot, things matter a lot, but gotta be open-minded, right? And here's another thing with Elvish Insight, where I try to hold it onto, if I get it turn 1, I try to hold onto it for round 2 to get a bigger advantage then. But, you know, depending on the hand, using it turn 1, seeing what people are up to, or like, is someone actually stuck? Like, what's going on? Can I safely take victory squares? Nothing wrong with that, especially since, you know, I'll likely still have some knowledge of cards next round. It's just another thing I've noticed. I see I sort of discard that uselessly. Here's a weird spot. And now probably the biggest mistake that, God, that muzzle through was so big. And this is what I was talking about, where, like, I think on this map you really want to keep your people together, especially for, I guess, this team. But, like, he's just so stranded here. So stranded. So awkward. But, y'all probably remember, this probably sees that spot to Ember Burst. I go here. I go here, and then I pass, or I use Howl on my other elf. And this was me not committing. So first off, there was like no real good place for me to go, right? I could have, what, gone back here or something, or like here, but then I'm just still in a really, really bad spot. And I catch that going here is a mistake given that the opponent has muscle through to trap me. So with all that in mind, I should have just gone, well, okay, shit, this person's probably in trouble, I need to do something. And I should have made the move and dashed here right away instead of waiting for a second hit. I need to put pressure right away. And I didn't. And life got very hard very quickly. So yeah, sometimes, you know, I'm a wuss, I hate committing, but at times you gotta fucking commit. You gotta do stuff. Yeah. I guess it's weird. So even if I had dash, okay, so even if I had dash instead of howled, right? So I dash here. What happens next? Where do I go? What do I do? If I dash here, I'll probably stab? Like, if I go here, like, what? He could walk away, because he knows I have vengeance. He could muscle through, right? Say, like, here. Dwarf muscles through here, puts me back here. That's probably the worst thing for me. But then I'm free to move around. Otherwise, man, hard to say. Maybe what I did was right, because like doing this, right, I can actually successfully flank move and get an attack off. From here, I can flank move and attack the warrior with Martyr's Blessing. No. If I just dash to say 1, 2, 3, I could have dashed here. If I dash, I could have come here, which is sort of interesting, and that it sort of threatens something, but then this one just walks like, I don't know, here or here, and then what? Right, I'm in the sad line. I can't. If he walks far enough away, I can't get to him. Going here does, if he is scared, it does force the muscle through, which is kind of cool. And then I can flank, and he traps me. This was just so bad. Like, what a great spot for this to be, right? If he didn't have martyrs, I'd happily go and start beating up this person. But he has martyrs and parry. Attacking him sucks. And here I know I go here. Well, yeah, I need to for the priority. And then, like, I think all that made sense. I can't do anything there. Like, I could. Knowing his muscle, right? If I try and do that and then like dash again, he can muscle through and just push me around, and life sucks. So I go for the thing that gives me the most damage, which I think makes sense. I think it makes sense. Okay, after that, what was problem number 2? Okay, that makes sense. Problem number 2 is I should have kept passing, probably. Or try and do something more. Oh man. But I remember walking up with my elf and getting smacked. And where is it? Yeah, right here. Yeah, got smacked right with the Inquisitor Strike. So I don't think moving next to a warrior with only one unrevealed card in hand is necessarily the wrong move. I think what was very wrong in this situation was the timing of it, right? I let him get to do everything he wanted. He got to hit me and move on to the victory squares, which made me moving on to the victory squares pointless, because we're tied now, right? He doesn't have to discard a card. He literally got everything he wanted out of that, and I just have a very hurt priest. So that was a huge timing miss on my end. I don't think there's much else I can say. I think the next mistake, I think it's like I dash and then Nimble Strike here in the middle of everyone, when it would have made more sense to Mighty Charge here and then Nimble Strike from back to avoid. Ouch. Now, he already knows I have no blocks and armor, so I just go in to get hit more. Does that make sense? Right? But the one good thing about the way I did it, I have 3 unknown cards. He assumes I have something nasty, and hence he uses the muscle through. So, right, that's the nice thing about holding a lot of cards in hand, and having it just be a giant unknown, because your opponent doesn't really know what's up. But then I just completely lost him. Is there anything I could have done better? Like, I think the biggest problem that happened was the elf warrior that died getting sort of caught out here. Now, I obviously couldn't have known about the muscle through, but that's fucking nasty. That's what that was. Like, using the flank move or not, right? It's like, man. So I was lucky he didn't have a follow-up stab. Then I would have felt really stupid for not using the flank move, which I could have potentially suspected. Right? He got 1 stab off. That's from double-edged sword. He probably has another stab. That's how that weapon works. So I guess I probably should have used the flank move. I was just so caught up on where do I go? What's the point? Right? Like, I still get priority. Oh god, that was weird. So if I hit so there's something funny, right? If I'd used Elvish Insight right away, I would have known he'd muscle through, and okay, then I can just sort of stay back here, keep my guys back, and then flank move Nimble Strike on for victory squares if I wanted. Who'd have thought dwarves, though, would be doing so much stuff so early? Yeah. Playstyle things. It's a tough game. But luckily we're on to a different set of maps. Don't know when I'll play, but is 2 Howling Pains too much? I like having the Nimble Strikes. Should I focus on more damage? Do I need Frenzy? What am I doing? That's kind of the fun thing about playing with warriors. There's so many, weapon options you can work through. That also makes it kind of hard to figure out what do. And well, I should also face the fact that nothing I come up with is going to be original. Right, game hasn't changed for so long. People have explored a lot. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyways, hope this was interesting. Hope this was useful, and I will see y'all next time. Take care.